Hey everyone, welcome or welcome back. My name is Dee and this is Dee's Reading Lounge, where I'm sharing my love for reading at my own pace. Welcome back to another video. This is going to be another book haul. If you're asking yourself, why am I doing a book haul? If you watched my video, I did say that one of my goals for 2025 was to read more and buy less, and I'm still sticking to that. However, before the new year got here, I went out and bought all the books, not very many. I don't think I did that much damage, but I bought all the books that I wanted to buy before the new year rolled in. And so here we are, and I'm going to be sharing those titles with you. And so let's go ahead and get into it. All right. So I have to admit that I bought these two books on a whim. I didn't plan for them, didn't really budget for them. I just had gotten off of work and I was bored because of circumstances. I found myself in Barnes and Nobles, and you guys know that Barnes and Nobles is not a place that I typically purchase books because they are so expensive. However, I did this day and I picked up two books by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. And so I purchased, I think this is her debut novel, Purple Hibiscus. I've heard nothing but good things about her. I do have her novel here, Americana, that is still on my to-do list. This was one of the books that I said I wanted to read before the end of 2024 or something like that. Here it is. I made that video like at the beginning when I first started my channel. But of course, so many books, so little time, I didn't get to it, and it really wasn't a priority. I didn't showcase this author as one of the authors that I wanted to read, but she is on the list. And so this one is about a 15-year-old named Kambili and her older brother, Jaja. It says they led a privileged life. They live in a beautiful home in the city of Enugu, Nigeria, and they attended an exclusive missionary school, but their home life is anything but harmonious. Although their religious father is a respected businessman, at home he has impossible expectations of their or of his children and wife. So that sounded interesting, and I heard that she is a really, really good writer, and I'm looking forward to getting into her writing. And so I bought that. And then Half of a Yellow Sun. I never read it, and I always wanted to read this one. This says it's a haunting novel of love, war, and moral responsibility. It's set against the backdrop of a seminal moment in African history, the Nigerian Civil War, and the unforgettable characters who experienced this tumultuous decade. I read a book, it was actually an autobiography, How Dare the Sunrise. This is by she's not Nigerian, but she's from the Congo, and she gave her memoir about how it was to be a war child and having to be a refugee coming over to the United States and starting all over. I really did enjoy that book. It really opened my eyes to what people coming over from like a war-torn country to a brand new country and the things that they have to assimilate in and things like that. And so it kind of reminded me of that story. I'm sure it's not going to be exactly the same experience, but that is what this one is about. All right, and so Barnes and Nobles, and that was all that I purchased from Barnes and Nobles. So the rest of the books pretty much came from Amazon. I try not to purchase books from Amazon, but sometimes I do. And so the first book that I want to show you is called The Priest. Okay, so this one really intrigued me because I am kind of intrigued with dark, this is not a romance, but kind of dark stories. And it's, since it was about a priest, I really love the premise of the book. Let me read it to you. It says, there are many rules a priest can't break. A priest cannot marry. A priest cannot abandon his flock. A priest cannot forsake his God. Tyler Bell has had no problem playing by the rules for the past 3 years after a family tragedy set him on the path to priesthood. That all changes when the delicious, sultry voice of Poppy Danforth sinks its claws in him through the screen of his confessional booth, and he can't get her sins out of his head. So this is a series, unfortunately, but it sounded so good I had to get it. And so it wasn't really that expensive. I think it was like $9 or something like that. And so I'm going to start with the first book. That's called The Priest by Sierra Simone. The next book is The House of Eve. I don't believe that I showed this book. I don't think so. But this is by Sadiqa Johnson. I mentioned in my last video that this is one of the authors that I wanted to really get into because of this book right here, The Yellow Wife. I will be reading this very soon. So I pretty much got the majority of her work, if not all of them, because I know she had some earlier like works that, you know, I wasn't really too interested in. I didn't pick up, but I got a few novels from her, and this one happens to be one. Speaking of that, I need to show you that book because I did not pull that one down. And just to let you know, I did not buy these books all at one time. I kind of like was purchasing here and there. Not that that makes any difference because the money has been spent. This, I think, is a popular book. You guys probably know what this one is all about. So it's historical sort of fiction, 1950s. 15-year-old Ruby Pearson is on a track to becoming the first in her family to attend college, but a taboo love affair threatens to pull her back down into poverty. So that sounds really good. Can't wait to get into that. And while I'm on this author, let me see if I can find that book. Actually, I got so many books, I don't know what I'm talking about. That book is not by her. That book is not by Sadiqa Johnson. So the next book that I got from Amazon is a autobiography. It's or memoir, Shirley Chisholm, Unbought and Unbossed, baby. Okay. So I forgot why I bought this book, but I did. I bought this book because I really love reading memoirs, especially about African-American women who've been trailblazers first and things like that, who've made names for themselves. They really uplifted me and give me like hope that whatever I'm trying to do, as small or big as it is, that I can do it too. So she was one of the first women, I think, in Congress. She was a member of the House of Representatives and a one-time presidential candidate. Okay, so this book is very short. It's not that long at all. And so I will be reading this one. It's like a little under 200 pages in 2025. Okay, so Shirley Chisholm, Unbought and Unbossed, baby. All right, so the next books stack right here. And the first one is called The Mothers. This is a novel by Brit Bennett. This is the author of, the reason why I bought this book is because I do have The Vanishing Half somewhere in here. Here it is. It's such a beautiful, beautiful cover. Here it is, such a gorgeous cover. And so although I did not mention her in that last video where I spoke of authors that I wanted to really get into their work, I want to get into her work. And so I think this is her debut novel, if I'm not mistaken. But don't quote me, okay? So it says it begins with the street. It is the last season of high school life for Nadia Turner, a rebellious, grief-stricken 17-year-old beauty. Mourning her mother's recent death, she takes up with the local pastor's 21-year-old son. So she's how old? 17, 21, okay. Luke. They are young, it's not serious, but the secrets that result from this teen romance and the subsequent cover-up will have an impact that goes far beyond their youth. Ooh, that sounds really good. I didn't know anything about this book until I just read it just now. So that is The Mothers by Brit Bennett. The next one is by an author that I said I wanted to get into as well. This is Jesmyn Ward, Let Us Descend. This is a historical fiction. I have pretty much, not all of her novels, but quite a few, maybe 2, 3 more. I read The Men We Reap, which is her memoir. And then this one was in the Oprah's book club back in 2023. And this is historical fiction inscribing rebirth and reclamation into the darkest chapters of American history. This searching novel follows a young enslaved girl who is sold south by her white enslavers who fathered her. And that's all I'm going to read. It's historical fiction. I love stuff like that. Yep. All right. So the next book just appeared on Amazon. I didn't know anything about this book when I purchased it, but it's called These Ghosts Are Family. And so when it appeared on Amazon or Storygraph or somewhere, I read the premise, and the premise sounds so good I had to get it. And so it says, Stanford Solomon, shocking 35-year-old secret is about to change the lives of everyone around him. He is a man who faked his own death and stole the identity of his best friend. Stanford Solomon is actually Abel Paisley. Now nearing the end of his life, Stanford is about to meet his firstborn daughter, Irene, a home health aide who has unwittingly shown up for her first day at work to tend to the father she thought was dead. Okay, that sounds so good, y'all. And so this one is pretty short as well. And yep, it's a little under 300 pages. Can't wait to get into that one. This next book I have been wanting to read for the longest time. I've heard people talk about this book since it pretty much came out. It was like all the rave like 6-7 years ago. When was this published? This was published in 2015, y'all. So it's been out for that long, A Little Life. I've been wanting to read this book for the longest. And then one of my favorite YouTubers here, Lex Reads, she said that she actually read this book. And so when she said that, it just jogged my memory about how I wanted to read the book too. But for some reason, I guess because of the cover, you know, I was kind of a little skeptical, but she said that book was good, and it's almost 800 pages, and she was able to read this book. And so I went ahead and picked this up because this has been on my TBR, or a book that I wanted to get for the longest. And since it's a long read, I didn't want to check it out from the library because I have to be in the mood to read chunkers like this. And so I really want to take my time with it because of I heard that this book is very emotional. It says, A Little Life follows 4 college classmates, broke adrift and buoyed only by their friendship and ambition, as they move to New York in search of fame and fortune. While their relationships, which are tinged by addiction, success, and pride, deepen over the decades, the men are held together by their devotion. So it's a book about friendship involving men. So that's different. I'm usually, you know, drawn to female friendships and things because I'm a female. But I heard this is a really good book, and that cover, I mean, says it all, right? Anyway, so that is A Little Life, and that is, I didn't say who it was by. This is by Hanya Yanagihara. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that right. So the next book, I don't believe I showed you guys either, is called The Briars Club. I purchased this several weeks ago. Ooh, look at those decal edges, y'all. I love when books have these edges. Something about it. This is a hardcover, and the paperback, I prefer paperbacks just for easy holding in my hand and reading, but they didn't have it out, so I got this book. And I love the premise of this book. It's a historical fiction. It's set in DC. Let's see what it says about DC 1950s. It says, everyone keeps to themselves at Briarwood House, a down at the heels all-female boarding house in the heart of the nation's capital, where secrets hide behind white picket fences. But when the lovely, mysterious Grace moves into the attic room, she draws her oddball collection of neighbors into unlikely friendships. So the book centers around friendship also. And then something happens with this person named Grace. She's hiding a terrible secret, and someone finds out or something like that. And it just sounded really good. So I picked that one up, and I can't wait to read that one. The next one is by Kristen Hanna, and I just went ahead and purchased another book from her because I know I'm going to love, hopefully I am, but you never know. But anyway, I went ahead and picked up The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. This is historical fiction. She writes historical fiction. Again, never read anything from this author, but I bought most of her collection. Not, you know, all her books or anything like that, because she does have like a lot of books. But the ones that I do have, I bought from thrift stores or thrift online, thriftbooks.com, and I got those for a good price. This one wasn't bad either. I only paid like $8 or $9 for this book on Amazon. And so it says this is a time of abundance. It follows the story of the Great War. The bounty of the land is plentiful, and America is on the brink of a new and optimistic era. But for Elsa, deemed too old to marry, in a time when a wife is a woman's only option, the future seems bleak until the night she decides to change the direction of her life and make an impulsive choice that ruins her reputation. Oh my God, I wonder what that was. She probably, back in these times, like having a baby out of wedlock or sleeping around and, the town finding out, those things for a woman to do is like taboo, and that will get you outcasted from society. So that, can't wait to see what happens to that character. And so the next book is by Sadiqa Johnson. Okay, so I did have a book by her. For some reason, I was thinking this book was by Shanora. I don't remember her last name, but I do have a few books by her too. She writes thrillers and romance. But I was getting her mixed up with this author. But it is one of her other books, and it's called And Then There Was Me, a novel. And Love in a Carry-On Bag. So she's got a romance. I think that was probably one of her earlier reads. So let me see. This book was published in, I'm just checking to see when The Yellow Wife was published. Okay, so I guess they were both published in 2021. So apparently she probably wrote this one first and then this one, because let me see if they quoted any of her other works. And Then There Was Me. So it says Bia and Aldwilda. What a name. I hope I didn't come on here with chapped lips. If they are, please forgive me, okay? It's been a rough day, and it's like cold outside. My skin, my lips, everything on my body gets crusty. So I try to stay hydrated and put on the Vaseline and all that. Anyway, so it says Bia and Awilda have been best friends from the moment Awilda threw her 14-year-old self across Bia's twin-sized bed as if they had known each other forever. Bubbly, adventurous Awilda taught sheltered, shy Bea how to dress and wear her hair and what to do with boys. In college, she even introduced Bea to her husband, Lonnie, who pledged to take good care of her for the rest of their lives. But philanderer Lonnie breaks that promise over and over again, leaving Bea to wrestle with her self-esteem and long-time secret addiction. So, this is not, it doesn't sound like a historical fiction. So that's why it makes me think that this one was published first. Anyway, so I don't hear anybody talking about this book. And when I'm getting into like new authors, even though The Yellow Wife is probably the book that I'm going to read next, I normally like to start with like some of their backlisted or, books. When I say not, people don't talk about them. Now, take that with a grain of salt, because there is a whole world out here besides YouTube, okay? In the bookish community, there's a whole community of book clubs who don't make videos, who are not online, that may be talking about this book I just don't know about. But when I say that, I mean like online. Nobody that I watch online, the BookTube community, I haven't heard anybody talk about this book. So that is one of the reasons why I got it. It's because, I like to read, a variety in different books, not just popular books and things like that. I like to read a lot of backlisted books, to be honest with you. But anyway, so that is And Then There Was Me by Sadiqa Johnson. All right. Okay. The next couple of books, and these should be the only ones. Now, I do have some books that I purchased from thriftbooks.com. If you bought from Thrift Book, it takes them forever and a day to ship your books, okay? And so I'm still waiting on 3 books. I got a really good deal. I got 1 book for free because I've bought so many books from them. They have this rewards program, and I have been pretty happy with them. Besides that 1 order, I've been, for the most part, happy with the conditions of the books. But anyway, I bought 3 books by Jamaica Kincaid. I was just going through my shelves one day and I was like, I only have 1 book from her. I would like to read more books. I've got 3 more books to show you. Is Beverly Jenkins Forbidden. And yes, this is a mass paperback. I have been wanting to purchase her books for the longest time. And if I probably had purchased her books years ago, I probably would have got them like for $5.99. Because I think I remember these paperbacks being like super cheap on Amazon, like $5.99, because they're mass paperbacks. I guess whoever her publisher was, I don't know how it works with the publishing industry, how to get this change from a mass paperback to a standard, a standard size book. I don't know what that would mean, but anyway, since it's so small, it is chunky, but it's not, well, dang. Oh, okay. I'll be able to get through this book because I think it's so short. Like the pages are not. The book is chunky because it's a short book, but the words on the page seems manageable. Anyway, so this is Beverly Johnson's Forbidden. Went ahead and got this one because this is the only way the book comes. And so I went ahead and did it. I went ahead and purchased this book, and I think it'll be okay. But this one is about, she writes historical romance. It even says it right here. She is a historical romance writer. I have 2 more books by her. I will be reading this book, Josephine, this month. I've already decided I'm going to go ahead and read this because I've been reading so many heavy things that I just need a change of pace, a palate cleanser, something to bring me joy. As you see, this book is a normal standard size paperback, so not sure what's going on with her books. But this one, again, is called Forbidden, and it says Ron Fontaine is building the successful life he's always dreamed of, one that depends upon the passing for white. Okay. Is that him? He looks white. He does not look mixed. But anyway, but for the first time in years, he wishes he could step out from behind the facade. The reason Edie Carmichael, the young woman, Edie Carmichael, the young woman he rescued in the desert, outspoken, defiant, and beautiful, Edie attempts Ron in a way that could cost him everything. So I went ahead and purchased this one. And then we've got 2 more. The next one is by Jane Igharo, and this one is called Ties That Teeter. Love, love, love this cover, y'all. It reminds me of some African fabric that I have. But yes, love that, and I love the dark-skinned woman on the cover as well. Just the contrast of the colors and her dark skin, just, ooh, so beautiful. Bought this one on a whim. It just appeared on Amazon, and I went ahead and read the synopsis, and it sounds pretty good. So it says, at 12 years old, Aziri promised her dying father she would marry a Nigerian man and preserve her culture, even after immigrating to Canada. Her mother has been vigilant about helping, forcing her to stay within the Nigerian dating pool ever since. But when another match made by mom goes wrong, Aziri ends up at a bar enjoying the company and later sharing the bed of Rafael Castellano, a man who is tall, handsome, and white. Okay, that sounds good. And if you know anything about the Nigerian culture, I've dated a Nigerian before, and they are really strong within their culture. They have a lot of cultural beliefs and things like that. So I cannot wait to read this one. Sounds interesting. And last but not least, I picked up Only for the Week by Natasha Bishop. And this says the Forever Falling series. I didn't realize this was a series, y'all. I'm not sure if I'm going to buy the second book because I'm getting too over my head with these books that has series and other books like after the original book, because normally I'm a one and done person, but I am stepping out of the box in 2025 and reading some series, okay? But I don't want to get too over my head, okay? But I did not realize this one was a series, but apparently it says it's a series. So I will have to definitely look into this one. But I think this is a new release. Well, the book isn't, but the cover is. And so I've heard many people talk and rave about this one. And so I want to read it too. It's a romance, like a taboo romance. And so, yeah, I heard it's pretty good. And I heard the male characters is a favorite. So I went ahead and picked this one up by Natasha Bishop. Okay, y'all. So I had to check to make sure I wasn't showing my address. I have one last box that I forgot that I had. Actually, this one came in last night. And so I'm going to quickly open this up and share the books with you. I think these are books. If not, I'll be ending this video. That's sad when you just don't know what's coming to your house. Okay, so it is a book. Oh my God, I forgot I bought this. Oh my God, I'm so excited to read this book because I heard everybody rave, except for one person. One person said they didn't like this book. It is a love song for Ricky Wilds by Tia Williams. I don't have any Tia Williams in my collection. Yeah, I forgot I bought this. And actually, I just recently did not, I don't know, because I guess because the colors of the cover is so bright, I did not realize it was two people facing opposite directions on this cover. I didn't realize it was. But if you look at it closely, there are two people, the female and the male right there. And they're laying down in opposite directions. Oh, he's got hair on his chest. You can see all of that. And then I think that's, no, that's not, that's her hair. Okay, that's her hair on his chest, not him. But anyway, the cover is beautiful. But yeah, I had to, ooh, and the hardback is purple, so pretty. So I had to get this one because I want to see what it's all about, because this one is a favorite for many people. It doesn't mean that it's going to be my favorite, and if it's not, it's okay. It is okay. And plus, I've wanted to buy this for a while, but Amazon wanted to charge me like $17 for it, and I did not want to pay $17 for it. But when I purchased this last week, it went all the way down to $14. So I was like, okay, Amazon, I'll go ahead and put it in my cart and purchase it. And so I went ahead and purchased this. And so it does say it's a New York Times best-selling author. A love song for Ricky Wilds. It's a funny, sexy, and breathtakingly romantic. It's got some magical realism in it, which is okay. If it's done right. I heard it's done right because I have experienced magical realism, and some of it can be a bit on a witchcrafty side, and your girl don't do all of that. I don't do all of that. But anyway, so I heard it was done good, and so I can't wait to read this. Okay, so I had to come back to show these other books that I bought because I forgot that they were sitting in my living room, and then I got another box delivered today. So this is the book that I said was a repurchase, so I just wanted to show it. It is the autobiography of Malcolm X as told by Alex Haley. I read this several years ago, definitely a 5-star read. If you have not read this, what are you waiting for? His story is so amazing. I enjoyed this story, and so I did, if you have watched any of my previous videos, you saw that I did buy a used copy from Thrift Books. The copy was in good condition, okay condition, but because it's like a book I could probably read many times over again, I wanted to have it in a hardback, like as a trophy book, I guess, on my shelf. And so I went ahead and purchased this. So this was the repurchase that I was talking about. And I love this cover, y'all. Such a beautiful cover. And it's a chunker too. Anyway, so that was in that one box. And then this next box, I ordered a air purifier to help with my breathing. And so that's why it's been sitting here. And then I was watching someone else's video and they showed this particular book. And I was like, hold on for a second. Amazon never delivered my book. And I realized that they shipped it with the air purifier. So hopefully it is in here. If not, Amazon will be hearing from me because they already took my money. Yep, it's in here. So I got two boxes. I got two books. I'll show the first one by Brittany Cherry. It's called Disgrace. He's the stain on our perfect town. So look at this. Love, love, love paperback books that are this floppy. Like it's a floppy one. So I don't have anything by Brittany Cherry, but I've heard good things about the writer. And so I wanted to pick up one of her books that nobody talks about on here. And so I went ahead and picked up this one. So I think it may be a love story. After 15 years together, he walked away from me and into the arms of another. I don't know how to cope. I don't know my worth. I didn't know how to exist without him by my side. All I wanted was for him to come back to me. I can't relate to that because I've never felt that at all, but I do know or have had friends in the past who have been in relationships for like many years and then it ended, and because their relationship people, they really did not know how to be by themselves. They struggled and found themselves like in the cycles of like relationships just for the sake of having somebody. But this is what this book sounds like. Can't wait to read this one eventually. And then the book that I had to have after I saw Chocolate Covered Pages. Hey, if you're watching this video, she showed this book. I had to get it because it was so interesting. It's this one, Master, Slave, Husband, Wife. It is so intriguing the way she described this book. And then when I went on Amazon, and the pages, y'all, look at the pages. This is the paperback version. It's almost printed like in a newspaper, like type paper. And again, it's a larger paperback copy and it's so floppy, which I absolutely love. But the premise of this book is this lady right here is actually a man. I want to say a white man, right? Let's read the back of the book. Okay, so it says in December 1948, so it's historical fiction, my favorite genre. A young enslaved couple named Ellen and William Craft set out on a journey of self-emancipation like no other, posing as master and slave. They traveled openly by rail, coach, and steamship from Macon, Georgia to Philadelphia. The boldness of their carefully planned escape from slavery would be exceeded only by its brilliant execution. And it was such a brilliant idea. I want to say this is a woman, I think, because it says master, slave, husband, wife. I think this is the enslaved woman and this is the man, I think. Yep, that's what it is. She actually disguised herself as a man. But then he dressed up as a woman? Anyway, I'll have to read more about this to truly know what it's about, but I think that's what this is. This is a woman, the actual slave, and this is the master, which a master can be a white woman as well, because when the male masters or the husbands die off, they do leave their estate, including slaves back then, to their wives. So they're also considered masters as well. So I'll have to read more about this, but I cannot wait to read this one. So I think this is historical fiction, like I said, and not like a nonfiction, but either way, historical or non-fiction, Black history is something that I really love. So I just had to show you guys that. And so back to the regular script. And y'all, that is it. Those are all of the books. And what I plan on doing for 2025 is just, I know I always say this, we all say this, but I'm really going to try my best not to buy any books because My significant other is starting to look at me like I'm crazy. He's starting to look at me like I'm crazy. And you know what? He probably has a right to look at me like I'm crazy because buying all these books and I can only read one at a time. So I am committed to sticking with the books that I now have. I will still buy books here and there, but I won't be doing any hauls for several months to come because it depends on if I'm reading more than I'm buying. Okay, so the hope is to read more. If I read more, if I want to buy a book or something like that, I'll go ahead and allow myself to buy a book here and there. But to just buy all these books like I just did, and like I said, I didn't purchase all these books um, at one time, but they were in probably short succession. Let me know what you think about this book haul. Let me know if you recommend that I read one sooner rather than later. Let me know any of your thoughts without giving spoilers, of course. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.